where we try to give you guys some good underdog plays throughout the NBA and MLB slates. So this is the Thursday edition. This will be the last one of the week, and no better way to start than to go through the picks from yesterday. It was an overall record of 2-3, with one of the games that I picked being canceled due to weather, rain more specifically. But we hit on the Mavericks at plus 230, which was a good one. It was plus 230 at the time that I gave it out on the show, but I actually checked, and the closing line was closer to plus 175. So some late money came in on the Mavericks, and then we also hit on the Red Sox at plus 125. And then our losses, the Orioles, for the third day in a row. And so that means that I cannot go with Baltimore anymore as much as I'd love to. Fool me once, you know the saying. But Orioles, we lost on those. The Diamondbacks at plus 150, which I was really disappointed on. And the 76ers at plus 160, who fell flat against the Celtics. And so today we will start with NBA for our picks, but fair warning, this will probably be a relatively short show because of the MLB slate not being too great today. I think the values on the favorites are pretty good. I didn't see a lot of live dogs in this situation, but if you have any questions about any games, throw them in the chat. I'll be sure to get to them at the end of my picks. But let's start with the Trailblazers again. This will probably be a relatively popular pick considering they're coming off of a win, and the Lakers still do not look good. I said a couple days ago that the Lakers look terrible in the seeding games, and it seems to have carried over in the postseason. And I think it's something that's it's easier to figure out your chemistry before you get to the playoffs, rather than doing it in the playoffs. And we saw that in game one with the Trailblazers taking the 1-0 lead in the series. But there's a lot of issues that the Lakers need to figure out, and this is coming from a Laker fan. LeBron, first of all, his stat line looked great with his 17 boards and 16 assists, or whatever it ended up finishing. I know it was something around there, though. But he needs to stop passing the ball, pass the ball less, and take over like the old LeBron if he's going to lead this team through the first round. It was a tough draw with the Blazers being the hottest team in the NBA right now. And so LeBron needs to be more aggressive. AD needs to play more like a big man instead of a guard. He's kind of getting bullied in the post, spending a lot of time in the perimeter. And the team needs to hit their open threes. They missed a lot of them in the first game. And I think that's just a lot of things that need to change. You need LeBron to change the way he's playing, AD to change. You need everyone else to start hitting their threes. So it's a lot to change in one game. It very well could happen, as I still believe the Lakers are the better team. But if you're going to give me everything considered and give me the Trailblazers at plus 235, I think that's great value and a little too good to pass up. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Trailblazers to take game two here at plus 235, but also a very good bet is you can sell a 1.5 or 2 points, depending on the line. And you can get plus 4.5 at plus 125, which is probably my best bet of the game because I still think it will be close, even if the Trailblazers don't get the win. But it should be a good one. I like selling a couple of points and getting some positive money value in it. Next game in the MLB, or the NBA, Rockets. Once again, I will be selling points. I was all over the Rockets in game one as an underdog. Got them at plus 110. But I'll sell some points here. Get them at -5 for plus 140. I mentioned a couple days ago I thought the Rockets were clearly the better team, even without Westbrook, who is, in fact, out again for game two. So keep that in mind. But the matchup, I just think, favors the Rockets so heavily that I'm willing to sell a couple of points to get a plus 140 value. I mentioned I predicted that the Rockets small ball was going to force OKC to play small rather than OKC forcing Houston to play big, and that's exactly what happened in game one. And the bigs just aren't able to score for OKC. Steven Adams had a decent game, but even he looks shaky in doing so. So the Thunder are going to sacrifice their bigs, which obviously makes a difference on defense, where they're giving up speed, um, or they're giving up size for speed, which is something that you need versus Houston. Um, but yeah, I'm starting to think this might be a sweep, or at least a gentleman's sweep at like 4-1. Um, Harden should have another big game. He only got to the line 8 times in game one, and his season average was 12 free throw attempts. So I think he'll be drawing more contact as well as hitting his normal step back threes and all of that. But I like the Rockets here -5. I still don't think the Thunder are that good of a team. I've been saying it since the show started, really. They had a good record, but I think it was more so just the regular season. I don't think they're built for the playoffs, and especially not built for this matchup. So yeah, I'll sell some couple of points here and get the Rockets at -5. And I don't see any reason why the Rockets shouldn't cover this, if not more than this. So yeah, that's 2 picks in the NBA out of the 4 games. I know the Bucks are still like 12.5 point favorites, 12.5 point favorites against the Magic, even though they lost game 1. I'm not going to touch that because I do think the gap in the East is way bigger than the gap in the West. But on to my single MLB pick for the day. It's the Rays +125 versus the Yankees. The Rays got John Curtis on the mound, who's 1-0 with a 2.84 ERA and sub-1 WHIP, while James Paxton's on the mound for the Yankees, who's 1-1 with a 7 ERA and 1.63 WHIP. Now, this is just me. I know I took the Yankees yesterday, saying that if you ever get them at underdog value, take it. They lost, but this is also part of the fact that James Paxton's on the mound for the Yankees. I'm not a believer in Paxton. He's had a pretty bad year so far and has shown shown that he's prone to giving up the long ball, and which is not a great matchup versus the Rays, who are 9th in the league in slugging percentage. And furthermore, there's a lot of trends going into Tampa's favor. Less than 30% of their at-bats are against lefties, but over a third of their home runs are against lefties. And they have a higher slugging percentage against left-handed pitchers this season rather than right. Their slugging percentage is higher in day games, and this is a 105 first pitch on the East. They also have a much higher slugging percentage in August rather than May. They're getting better as the season's going on. And basically every situation points to them hitting the ball well today. Paxton's not pitching well. They're better against lefties, better in day games, getting better as the season progresses. And they also have a higher slugging percentage on the road. So literally everything's pointing in the Rays' favor here, which means it probably only makes sense that the Yankees win this game pretty easily, but the numbers don't lie. Points that the Rays have some value at +125. Also, I want to be clear. I know I said yesterday that the Yankees' replacements are capable, but that hasn't really been the problem. It's been the returning starters, not the replacements that have been struggling for the Yankees. So I just think there's some good value here at +125. And then I will get into a couple of leans. First, I got the Pacers at +150. I was on them game 1, too, just because I think the Heat and Pacers are a pretty evenly matched team. The Heat pulled away late in game 1, but I think the Pacers are definitely live dogs here at +150 in game 2. Like I said, I just think these teams are more evenly matched than the lines are suggesting. And, the Heat hit a lot of threes in that game, or at least late they did. They went on a big streak, which helped secure the win. But I think the Pacers might come back big, similar to how the Jazz did against the Nuggets yesterday. And so I think the Pacers at +150 is a good bet. And also the Angels +105. I'm not going to go too deep into that because there are some trends pointing towards it. And there's also some trends pointing away from it. It's just a lean that I have at +105. And also I do want to note that the Orioles versus the Red Sox, I believe, that was a pick that I was going to give, but I couldn't go for the Orioles 4 days in a row and see them lose all 4 games. So if I laid off the Orioles yesterday, I probably would have went with them again today. However, I do like Nate Eovaldi a little bit, but a lot of numbers point in the Orioles' direction today, along with BetQL, which, like I always say, you can subscribe and get a lot of information that uh, can help you make some money. And it's a lot of algorithms and stuff, but the numbers don't lie, the trends work. So use the promo code Mazone and get 20% off your subscription. I'll definitely help you out. Definitely worth the money. You'll get it back in a couple of picks, no doubt. Yeah, so we'll go through the quick recap of the picks today for anyone that came in late. I like the Trailblazers at sell a point, sell 2 points, get them at plus 4.5 for 125. The Rockets sell more points, get them at -5 for plus 140. That's probably my favorite bet of the day for anyone that cares. And the Rays at plus 125 versus the Yankees. Like I said, the MLB slate is a little shaky today. There's a lot of close games, but for a lot of matchups, any trend that I saw that favored one team, I'd look at the other team and find a trend that favored them. That would pretty much cancel it out. So yeah, I mean, it'll happen when you're looking for underdog value that a slate just doesn't pique your interest too much, and that's what happened today. So I got 3 picks, 2 leans, hoping for the best. I will not be back tomorrow for this show, but I will be back at 6 o'clock previewing the UFC card, which is Pedro Munoz versus Frankie Edgar. So tune in at 6. I'll be there giving out all the plays for the main card as well as a play or two from the undercard. And yeah, hope to see you guys then. So good luck with your betting, and hopefully I see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.